Good evening, Danie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, and you? Thank you so much for joining deVonk
I'm
this
always,
evening.
I'm always well. Thanks. Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
It's a big pleasure. It's wonderful chatting to you this evening, and we've been interacting for quite some time, and I am extremely passionate about what you do, and it absolutely definitely deserves a feature in a magazine that is reaching so many people. So thank you for your time. And if you don't mind, for our viewers, just kind of introduce yourself a bit, tell us who you are and what it is that you do. That'll be amazing. Thanks.
Well, firstly, thank you. You're creating a lot of noise around your magazine, your e-magazine.
Yes.
And thank you for including us in the noise. Apparently, I make good noise too. Not as good as you, but yeah. So I'm Danie van Loggerenberg. I'm the founder, owner, tea lady, mop person
Finance,
of
CEO, everything.
everything and in between. I do the dishes as well. I'm terrible at that. I should fire myself. But yeah, everything and everything about the child protection hotline, which is in a summarized version is easy. It's a hotline. It's various numbers, area specific numbers that allows any person that wants to report child abuse, child neglect, bullying, trafficking, any suspicion around something happening to children 24/7 via SMS, WhatsApp, or phone call. Why so wide? Well, it's easy. I'm going to use this example. It's a terrible example, but it is what it is. A little girl that's been raped, in more than 80% of the cases, she will be raped by somebody that she knows and trusts.
Yes.
She's not going to phone a random number. And when she's not going to phone that random number, it does not mean she doesn't need or want help. It will mean that she would be more comfortable asking a teacher for help,
Yes.
asking somebody else that she trusts.
Yes.
But she would also most probably be able to just send the word help to our number, because she doesn't need to be a face. We won't have a name, but she would be able to say, help me, this has happened. And then we ask the person certain questions. And from those questions, we get the information that we need so that we can, as a reporting facility, can pass on the information to be it a social worker, be it a police officer, be it a court official, anyone, so that those children can get help. Because a child that doesn't get help, unfortunately, in most instances, becomes an adult that is angry and upset, and they become parents. And the angry adult that becomes an angry parent hurts a child, and that child might hurt a child that had a normal upbringing, in a very good setup, and they might just hurt a child that never ever deserves to be hurt, not because they want to, because they don't know any other way.
Yeah. Well, I would like to find out from you a bit more about, since when you kind of started the whole hotline. I think, from when I was a little girl, I always remembered there was, I don't know if there was something similar, but I remember kind of something about like a child's protection, but what we kind of had imprinted in our minds since a young age, or since we were little, was 10111. That was kind of like our emergency go-to. So I'd like to find out from you about when your initiative started and how it actually works. If you don't mind elaborating a bit on that, please.
No, not at all. So today is the 17th of September. So on the 17th of September, 2019, we launched our very first child protection hotline. So we are actually 2 years old today. So if I had a red nose, it would be on with a little wiki.
Oh, that's amazing.
So yeah, we are 2 years old today. And how it actually works is quite simple. there's a number. We've currently got 32 child protection hotlines that are active across the country. One of those 32 is a national number. So should you ever be in doubt, you can contact that number. It does not mean that, for example, a Pretoria child is not allowed to use another number at all. The only reason we've done that is to make it quicker for us, because we will now know that on a certain hotline, there's a certain, might be one, might be two, might even be three police stations that looks after the area.
Yes.
And we then know who the contact people would be. So it just makes it a lot quicker for us to help.
Okay.
But I've got absolutely no problem if a person in Bloemfontein uses the Pretoria number, a person in Pretoria decides he likes to use the Cape Town number, for example. None of that is actually, it's not to say, oh, no, this is the wrong number, we can't help you, never, ever. It's just to make it a lot easier that we know this police officer and this police officer are the ones looking after this hotline number. And because this message got there and it's in the right area, I can send that person a quick WhatsApp. I don't now have to go through all the lists and see, okay, where are we going? But I do also not mind making the difficult side or putting the pressure on us. So whatever is needed, we'll supply. So how does it work? A child has a problem, they can send a SMS, a WhatsApp, or they can call. A parent can call, a teacher can call. A lot of teachers call us. A lot of teachers get kids at school. They see something was wrong. We had in Kempton Park the other day where a boy's nose was broken. So he had a mask on. And then in the classroom, his nose started bleeding. The teacher asked him to quickly remove the mask. Then she saw his nose was broken, asked him what happened. One of his parents beat him. And she made contact with us. We then, obviously, with regards to that, got all the relevant information and then send SAPS to investigate. So we're asking nobody to not do or to do anything outside of their scope of work. We just realized that if there's, for example, there's no trust in for example, the police force, that instead of that denying a child access to help, let's then tell them they can come through us. We work with SAPS. They've got wonderful people that work there, and we make sure that that case is followed up. You're 100% correct. At 10111, that's the one we got at school. So all the kids would have different ways of signing 10111. Again, let's go back to my earlier example. You've got a little girl, let's say her stepdad raped her. I'm using stepdad, could be uncle, could be dad, could be granddad, could even be mom. That little girl is not going to phone 10111, have no idea who she's speaking to. She just got hurt by trusts. So one of the things that we do is we visit quite a lot of schools pre-COVID, a lot more. In COVID, obviously, a little more difficult. We visit schools, we build that trust. So our charity is Toys for Africa. That they are 11 years old this year. We are 11 years old this year. And our grade ones from 2010 are in matric this year.
Oh, wow.
So over a long period of time, we've built that trust. And by building that trust, people feel that, listen, these people care. And they can put a face and a name towards who's helping me. And that's what we try and do. It's terrible what happens to our kids. It's crazy. And somebody needs to say enough is enough. And we're trying our level best to say enough is enough. A voice for the voiceless, help for the helpless, hope for the hopeless, and all those fancy things. But the most important thing is a child should not be helped. Because if you're not helping a child, that child loses all trust. I used that an example earlier today. I was at my little girl played netball, and I was there, well, not quite next to the court, but as close as possible that I could get to watching her play. And I said to the one, well, I'm normally the only dad, so I said to one of the other moms that when lockdown started, children are such easy little creatures. They just believe things like, listen, I'm doing it now. They believe you. I mean, we can tell them that forever. So when the president came, and it's nothing against him. I mean, COVID was unpredictable for all of us. But when he came and he said 2 weeks and 3 weeks and just another 2 and level this and level that, they in the beginning trusted him.
Yes.
They no longer trust him because they feel he's lying.
Yeah.
And we as grown-ups understand that, listen, none of us has any idea or clue what's going on.
Yes.
But they don't.
Mm.
And we want to make sure that they don't lose that. Because I mean, at our age, and I mean, I think we the same age. At our age, we don't really like and trust a lot of people.
No.
And that happened because we've seen people in action. We've
Mm.
seen people say one thing, act another way. We've seen, I mean, you starting a magazine. I mean, we all only going to see the glitz and the glamour, but I'm sure there's a few people that made promises that didn't keep them along the line and all of that. You don't have to answer that. But I mean, it happens to all of us all the time. And we don't want our kids to start, our kids shouldn't
have to go through any of this.
No, if I've got a problem, where do you go? I mean, we had a school the other day, a little girl called the teacher and said, listen, teacher, I want to go to the toilet. I can't. And the teacher found it strange. And when the teacher joined her in the toilet, she showed her buttocks, which I don't know if it was purple or black or blue or what color you wanted to call it. I mean, that child was beaten to a standstill. And then when the teacher made contact with us, so the child trusts the teacher then made contact with us, and then the principal of the school said, yeah, but you know what, we don't really want people to think our school is like that, or our school just wants to have kids removed, or which is firstly against the law because it's mandatory for school or school teacher or school staff to report child abuse. But and shame, I felt terrible because the teacher was staying in a school hostel and she was scared of losing a job, losing her place to stay. And I mean, with COVID, you don't really want to lose a job. We've got the worst unemployment in the world. But the concern is, and the problem is, now you've got this little girl trusting someone. Okay, we forced the teacher to do a thing, but in many schools, they don't call us.
No.
And then that trust is broken. And once that trust is broken, that little girl, which in this instance was a girl, or it could be a boy, it was a girl, but it could be a boy, it could be anyone. Once that trust is broken, one of two things happen. Either we go again, and I mean, with what you do for a living, what I do for a living, we have to go again. We can't not trust again. And if we disappoint again, we become wiser who we trust.
Yes.
But a child doesn't understand that. And now they can go either, listen, I'm going to try again. It was a fluke. That was just a bad apple. Or they turn around, they start hurting other kids.
Yeah.
And a classic example, and obviously you've got such a funky magazine. I don't want to gross people out. But
no, it's not about grossing people out, Danie. And you know,
the truth.
The deVonk Lifestyle e-magazine is about talking about things that matter, that maybe other publications don't want to necessarily touch on or even talk about because of the gruesome factor to it. But you know what, at the end of the day, it's part of our life and it's things that need to be addressed. And I take my hat off for what you do. So please, by all means, whatever you feel like sharing, whatever you are allowed to share, please do so, because this is the platform where we reach out to people. Every single person viewing or reading this magazine gets a glimpse of what it is that you do in your life. And so please, by all means, share with us.
So your little girl, and I mean, I'm going to touch base with many people. Your little girl that's now been raped will either turn around and say, you know what, I'm cutting myself off from life. I'm cutting myself off from people. And that's one. She could turn out to lead a normal life, and somehow she could call it faith. She could call it passion. She could call it what she wants. Or there's the other one where she now turns out to now sleep with every single boy that crosses her path, married men, and because I've lost it and I'm going to go out and hurt other people.
Yeah.
And we all know girls like that. Unfortunately, we know boys like that. Boys get raped as well. In this country, it's ridiculous how many boys get raped as well. And that's the sad part, because I'm a parent, you're a parent, and as a parent, we can only trust that our kids make good choices.
Yes.
But nobody starts off a conversation. My name is Danie. I've been raped. I haven't been, but you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
I've been raped. I've been hurt, and I am going to hurt you. So please keep your distance. Nobody starts off like that.
No.
Because we all hope that what has happened to us doesn't define us, and that we are bigger than our circumstances, what has happened to us, our choices, etc., etc. So that to me is the concerning thing. I had the privilege the other day to be a guest speaker at one of these GBV summits for the Gauteng government, and I asked I think we were 3 males, all the rest were ladies, and I asked who's the moms here, and 99.9% of the ladies put up their hands. We all moms. I said, okay, great. How many of you are single moms? And about 90% of them put up their hand. We single moms. I said, okay, so why are your boys a problem? Because see, that's my concern. Nobody wants to ask that question. I think we need to have that discussion.
Yes.
Why do we have dads are absent, dads are this, dad are okay, but why are single moms boys the ones that are hurting others?
Yes.
Out of a psychological perspective, I can explain it. They feel hurt and then they hurt. I get that. But what are we doing wrong?
Yeah.
And because we're not having certain conversations, we're not helping our kids.
Yeah.
And now we've got a single mom, and that single mom now catches a boy at 16, 17, 18. Now she's pregnant. I mean, we've got 23,000 teenage pregnancies between the ages of 10 and 14.
Yeah.
That's just in Gauteng. So how many of those do you think are in healthy relationships? Well, I can tell you, not even 5%.
No.
Because all of them are rapes because they
Yes.
are underaged. So now we've got a new bunch of single moms. There were 2,000 and something of those 23,000 were terminated. All the others were not. So now we've got all these single moms again, and nothing against single moms, but we've got all these single moms again raising these boys. These boys are growing up, for whatever reason, hurting girls again, because if men are the problem, that means boys who become men are the problem. But most of them have single moms. Why? Why aren't we helping them? Why are they? And those moms didn't enjoy me when I was on stage because I didn't want that question answered. Because it's easy to say, no, the boys are a problem, but I've got 32 hotlines. The amount of messages I get in a day that says my boy is 14 or 15 or 16 and he's out of control and I don't know what to do. The other day mom said she clapped her boy. I'm like, that's not going to help a lot because you've just hurt him and he's going to now hurt someone else. So we need to have conversations and we need to include our boys in these conversations because our boys are being excluded. We take the girls one side, we tell them all these things and what to look out for, but we're not talking to our boys. We're not talking to our boys to be good men. We're not talking to our boys to be respectful men. We're not talking to our boys about any of those things that are important. They become 18 and then we tell them they're a problem. I don't know about you, but if you talk to me the first time at 18, I'm pretty set in my ways. I was a clever teenager. I've now got a very clever teenager. And I'm being paid back every single day with interest for the teenager I was. So we need to have those conversations because our kids are getting hurt. We're talking all the talk. We saying all the right things and we're making all the right noises. But we have kids that are being killed daily. We have kids that are being sold daily. Trafficking is a problem, yes, but some people get kids.
It happens within the homes. It's not even a case of being trafficked, a child being part of a trafficking scenario, it actually happens in a safe space. It happens where else do they go, Danie? When this happens to you in your home, or it's with someone close in your family or your school, or where do you go? Do you know what I'm saying? And I think it's just as bad. The human
So that's
trafficking.
what exactly that no, it's the worst thing I've it's one of the worst things I've ever seen. And the number of seconds that pass. I mean, just in our interview now, the number of kids on average that have been taken in this time, the number of kids that while we've been talking have been raped, the number of kids that have been severely beaten, the kids that have been murdered by their own people within the home, as you said rightly, just in the time that we've spoken is ridiculous. So to answer your question of where do they go, that's why we exist.
Yes.
What we want to say is come here, talk to us. How can you trust us? Because you've been to my place. I don't have a mansion, so I'm not trying to make funds to live the life.
I know.
With COVID, we don't have the luxury of having an office separate. We can't afford to have an office separate. So we're working from my place. So I work on a weekend. I start at about 4 on a Friday until Monday morning, 9 o'clock. I'm on duty the entire time. But it's not about me. That is just what COVID has done. So we are here. We are committed. We are excited to help. And no child, and our service is free. I think that's important. Our service is free, so there's no cost involved, except, because I think this is important, except for the cost of data or airtime. There is no other cost involved. We do not determine the data cost or the airtime cost. If you are lucky enough to have Wi-Fi, then you'd have no cost. A lot of kids phone us from Wi-Fi, WhatsApp calls and stuff. Good for them. In some areas they don't. Then I feel terrible for the kids that don't. But that's why we're there. And we're trying to reach the kids, but at the same time, even more importantly, we're trying to reach the parents and the teachers, so that if a child has a problem, they go to their teacher has the opportunity to either Google or hopefully have seen us before and said.
I think that to me is also, there's two drives that you are busy with that has, I think, made quite a big impact in my heart. And the first one is the fact that you actually go out to the schools and you have these discussions with the teachers and with the kids, and you proactively going out and trying to get kids kind of like this, it's okay, if something's happening. So you proactively talking to the schools and visiting the schools. And I know with COVID, that's obviously, just brought that awareness, and you actually visiting schools right down to almost a zero now, having to slowly but surely build up again. And then the second initiative that I think is really, really amazing is what you guys are doing in the restaurants, where you actually go to venues and you train the staff on how to look out for a predator. You kind of train the people in the entire facility to make sure that our kids are safe. And I'm not saying it's a safe place where parents can go and sit back and not keep a close eye, but there's almost, you guys are focusing on an area where me as a mom, we parents, and where do you want to go, but you also want to relax a bit at the restaurant. You don't want to sit in the jungle gym where your 4-year-old is playing the entire night, because then you might as well have just stayed home. Because what is the point of going out for dinner if you're stuck in the kiddies area as a mom or a dad, or you're stuck there, right? You don't get to mingle with your people and all of that. So it's not taking the responsibility away from the parents and handing it purely over to the restaurant. But I think what's great is parents have a place to go. And I actually believe, correct me if I'm wrong, if I understand it correctly, is when you are a restaurant or a venue that has gone through your training, you get some form of certification to say that we are a safer place for your kids to go to.
Yes.
So if you want to
Yes,
maybe touch a
okay,
bit
so
on that.
Yes, okay, so 100%, and you're 100% correct. So I'm a little cheeky. So we do ask restaurants to become one of our partners.
Yes.
A partnership does cost money
That's
because
fine.
we need to survive. It's a lot of fun offering everything for free, but we then knock on corporate's door, and one of the corporates would be restaurants. And these restaurants then become a partner. That's got a cost involved. Once they're a partner, we come and train their staff for free, obviously, which is included within the partnership fee. We then train them. We go through them different scenarios. We teach them small little tricks, and then also at the end give them a certificate. So that does not mean a child will not get hurt there, but it does mean that their staff look at and think of things and will see different things that nobody else will see.
Yeah.
So every time I've done one of these, all the staff members and in some instances the owners even sit in, and they afterwards are shocked to learn things that we see daily and hear of daily and work with daily that nobody else has even thought of. I'm going to give you a good example. So at one of the restaurants we worked, and we taught them to not allow anybody to take photos in their play area. And originally the owner of the place said to me, why? I mean, if you want to take a pic of your child, you want to take a pic of your child. Yes, but if you now take a pic of your child, that must include everybody else taking a pic of children. And not everybody that walks around in the play area has kids. So they've then realized, and we worked together, so they created a separate photo booth area.
Yes.
The kids can go and take a photo. So the parents can go there, but you also do not always realize who you picturing at the back. So you innocently take
who's in
the photo of your own child, but that child at the back might be a child that has just been removed from a certain, let's say it's a custody battle, and that child's mom or dad's not allowed to see the child for whatever reason, alcoholic, drugs, whatever. Now that person is on Facebook. So what Facebook does, unfortunately, and probably fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, is it tells you sometimes, listen, there's a photo. You might be in that photo.
Yes.
And that sometimes includes you being somewhere that you weren't part of that photo. I've had lots and lots of them. And then you think to yourself, but okay, once they pick up that I'm there, now my child is innocently playing. My child does not now, for example, know that, hey, here's my mom, here's my dad. Hey. So I want to try and pick up where we were. So at the restaurants, we also teach them just some tricks, what to take photos, or not to allow photos. And I think we were busy chatting about on social media, where in the background, they can actually pick up it's you. So And that's fine. I mean, it's great for me as a friend of you to say, hey, listen, there's a photo. It looks like Lee's there. But it's different when it's a custody battle or divorce battle or disgruntled grandparents who are now pitching up at restaurants because now they all of a sudden know the kids are there. And taking the kids, because remember, the kids don't know and understand everything that's going on. It could be a place of safety that took out their kids for a quick lunch, and you innocently taking a photo of your child and having another child in the back. So it's nothing that the restaurant's doing wrong. It's maybe just teaching them things that they can do to make sure that they're not doing something weird unintentionally, but it could still mean the difference between a child living and not. I mean, I always think about that poor little girl at Roos that got hurt. And yes, the man was mentally ill and all of that, but I mean, but just talking to a child mind and saying, listen, a little girl, if mommy's not taking her to the toilet, it's not your job, but mommy should. So there can't only be one, because so there's certain small things we can teach them that they're not thinking about because it's not their day-to-day job.
It's not in their job description. It's
no, not at all. And I mean, it's we had in a town here in Pretoria, we had where a gentleman was sitting at a franchise restaurant. That's probably the best way to describe it. And he had a pack of cash on his table. So he would be winking at girls walking past. And once he got their attention, they would, do you want some of it? Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm a child. My parents are struggling. I would love some cash. And he'd take them to the closest bottle store, buy one or two things, get them drunk out of their minds, take them home and rape them. So if you, I mean, me and you would probably, not me, because I work in it, but you'll probably walk past and think it's weird. And that would be the end. And you'll tell your husband in the evening, listen, I saw a funny oak today.
Yes.
Sitting like he's got monopoly money to hand out there in this restaurant, and you'll laugh about it. And next week at a braai, you'll mention it again, because it's funny, weird things that we see.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, some of those funny, weird things, if we really, dissect them
and pay attention, it could end up way worse or unimaginable that oh no, it's bad, Danie. Look, I mean, absolutely take
your little girl. Your little girl, I mean, you are now, okay, now with COVID, it's different, but you had a normal day, she's playing netball or hockey, and you're at a school, you're at another school, they're playing there. I mean, if you as a parent, it sounds ridiculous, but you as a parent need to walk with your child to that door, and you tell them, if you get in there and there's anybody weird, you scream. Because if you do not do that, and there's some oak working in the gardens, or the one of the teachers of the other school, and they're in that toilet or in that bathroom, and your child enters. Your child, and most of us teach our kids to have respect for older people. Immediately, your child is not seeing that person as a threat. No. They're seeing that person just as another person. And now they do certain things that is, and it takes 1 or 2 minutes, and that changes your child's life forever. I have parents that tell me, no, but their kids have privacy. Their kids have human rights. If you are a parent and you're not looking onto your child's cell phone on a regular basis, you're checking their Google, you're checking their YouTube, you're checking whatever else they're on, then you are failing your child as a parent. We had a child that lured other children. He was a teenager himself. He was 16 years old. He's now 17. He was 16. On Instagram. On Instagram, he lured young kids to his profile, and then eventually befriended them, got them to send weird photos of themselves, and then he used it to manipulate them in getting money out of them. We had a mom that phoned us. Her 11-year-old boy started stealing from her wallet to not get this other child to use the photos that was sent to use them. And the concern is we can stop all of that, but now we've got parents who want to be cool parents. We've got parents who say, I trust my child. I want to give them all the freedom in the world. Kids do not need freedom. They need to know that you love them. And do not misunderstand that. They do not need freedom, because the more freedom they have, kids operate better within a structure. And that boxy can be small, it could be big, it could be whatever, but within a structure. As soon as we open that up, the world is way too big. They don't understand it. I don't even understand the entire world. And I'm fully grown, 120 plus kilograms, solid beef, I think. Not a lot of chicken, I hope. So it's very important that we look after our kids. And there's certain things. I mean, if you've got a small baby like I have, he tries to put his fingers into plug holes. He is crazy, but he doesn't know better. So he only knows better when I tell him no. And I always explain it this way. I'm a Christian man, and I'm proud of it. How often do we pray and we ask the Lord for stuff, and he says no? It's okay to say no to your child. We learn it from the master. It's okay.
Yes.
It's important that if you want to make sure that your kids are safe, it's important to communicate with them, listen to them, but continue to be the parent. I've got way too many parents, but I want to be a fun parent. You can't be a fun parent. You could be a lekker parent that is strict and have
You can't
fun
be
with your
fun,
kids.
but you can be lekker.
You can be lekker. You can do a lot of fun things with them, but you need to put your foot down, and there's certain stages that you need to say no.
Yeah.
And it's terrible to hear no. It's terrible to say no. If you've got small kids, it sometimes feels like it's the only word that you have. And
Yes.
that's why we've got a movie like Yes Day, because but what happens in Yes Day, the kids realize that it's not as easy just to have yeses.
Yeah.
Between yeses, we need some no's, because that balances out, and it's important. And I'm worried because we are not as strict as our parents were, and our kids are definitely not as well mannered as we were.
No.
And I'm worried about our grandkids.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom was here the other day, and she told my kids, "You guys are lucky," because they think I'm a strict dad, and I am. But she told them, "Jou pa, hy het nog voordat hy gedink het hy klaar pak slag gekry, was hy nie verkeerd nie." And we turned out okay. We
are okay. Yes.
But I'm worried. I speak to parents daily. Some days we run to 140 plus messages, phone calls, etc. I'm worried. I'm worried, and the sad reality is that I'm going to use my oldest. He's a boy. He's going to one day come home. He's going to introduce me to this girl who's going to seem lovely. She's going to look lovely, but we're not going to know anything about her until 6, 7, 8 months down the line. And by that time, he's no longer going to listen to me. He's no longer going to take my advice, because he's going to be in love, and she's going to offer him things. Ek spreek dit nie uit oor my kind nie. But that is the concern I think we all should have, is she's going to offer him things that are going to be fun. Like, Daddy didn't tell me about these lekker things.
Yes.
She's showing me funny things, and he's going to get hooked on a different kind of drug. And then there's going to be a day where she's going to turn around and hurt him because she's hurt. So I want to limit the damage my kids can get from the outside. I want to limit the damage that can be done to them by trying to get to all the other kids. And we use 2 hashtags. We use Every Child Matters, which is, I think, self-explanatory. It's every single child matters, irrelevant of race, religion, first language, eye color, hair color. All of that doesn't matter. But the second one is I Will. And if you've ever watched the movie Courageous, it gets to a point where that guy stands up and he says, I will. And he goes through an entire list that he as a father, and we've obviously just changed it around. It's not just fatherhood. It is us me as a parent, me as a concerned citizen. I will make a difference. And I hate to use the word I will, because I hate the fact that you use the word I. In Afrikaans, I always tell the kids, jy's nie 'n kyker nie, so jy het nie nodig om te ek nie. But you need to take that stand, because without the first I, there can never be a we.
It can't.
And
Danie, you know what? I think I have said this to you before, that this platform is here to help initiatives like yours. And I know we have hundreds and thousands of viewers who actually see this, and I think we will cover a bit more in your actual article about where people can get hold of you, how people can get involved, whether they're a corporate, from a personal capacity. I don't care how people get involved, but people need to start getting involved, and it needs to be not a thing anymore about people being aware and people noticing and talking about it, but people actually doing. And I want to thank you personally. I don't know how many people thank you for what you do. Thank you, you're a dad. Thank you for sitting up at night checking these hotlines in your own personal capacity. I think you have touched the lives of a lot of children. And you know what? Even if it's not all of them just yet, but the ones that you have and the ones that you've helped can only be but better adults and better family members and better colleagues and better people in general. And thank you. Thank you for everything in your brilliant initiative. I'm extremely passionate about this, and I take my hats off. And I don't even want to know everything that you see and everything that you go through. And I don't think most people, 90% of people out there, won't be able to stomach this nonsense and stuff that you get to see on a daily basis. There needs to be more action to this. And if there's ever anything from our side that we can help with, at the moment, we can try and create the awareness for you and give you the platform. But, oh, Danie, it's not a nice thing to talk about. It's not a nice topic. Makes you sick to your stomach. But I think what is very positive about all of this is your initiative and your hotlines. And I see them popping up one after the other on Facebook, and I'm proud, and I'm liking them and I'm following them. And I want every single viewer of this eMag to go and do exactly the same. Make a difference. Stand up, say something, do something. And we as deVonk are extremely proud to have even had the opportunity to talk to you and to be a part of your journey, because I think it's going to be one hell of a ride. I'm not saying much more than that.
It has been. So yeah, thank you so much. So no, just one or two things. Now you don't want to know what we've seen and what we know. It's a privilege to be able to share it. Yes, because I've always had this thing in my heart to offer a service free. I had a dad in Soweto. His neighbor's dog bit his son, and as he's calling me crying, well, he didn't call me, he called the hotline, but as he's crying, his first question is, what is this going to cost me? And I felt so sad for him, because that is unfortunately where we as a society have gone. Is, you know, what's it going to cost? I need help. What's it going to cost?
Yes.
So we don't want to work with that. Yeah, if people want to get divorced, we can refer them to attorneys. That does cost money, and so forth. But I have a lot of dads that phone moms, grandmothers, grandfathers. I had a dad in Cape Town who used to phone me and just ask for assistance. And then one he phoned me at I was at Burger King. I don't know if I'm allowed to. I didn't want to cook, and I didn't have the kids.
That's fine. I'm sure
I needed I needed a quick bite, and their tears rolling. I did everything you said. I calmed down. I did this. I filled that in. I went this. They gave me my child. I've got a court order that says this child stays with me. The child is I've spoken to him maybe 10 times. Don't special is the people that help. We don't really know them. So yeah, you just froze again. So I was waiting.
You froze as well. I do apologize.
No. As long as the talking didn't
pretending
freeze, that's
nothing's
fine.
wrong, nodding my head, doing something for the viewers to think nothing's wrong, but you're frozen. And on your side, I'm frozen. But I do apologize, Donnie.
No. So that's I think is the. I think if you can do things, there's a saying that goes something similar. You know, if you can do things for people that can't repay you, that makes it real.
Yes.
Because as soon as listen, this and that, and like I said, so most people we help, and I don't know who they are. They might know that, I mean, people phone us from newspapers, newspaper articles, so they always say, "Are you Danie?" Yes, I'm Danie. And I never ask their names, to be honest. I send them, I chat to them, and then they tell me about the neighbor. And for me, it's all about the focus on the child. And again, it's not an entire I. But yes, I did start it, and I do make the tea, and I do terrible dishes, and all of it for it. I have tried to mop. I'm terrible at that. Somewhere I'm doing too much water, I think. But it's important that if you want to help, you help. And I'm not taking photos of every person I help. I cannot post a story about every person that we help. And I also don't want to. I really want to, you know what, you need help, knock on this door and we will help.
Yes.
Because somebody once said to me, sometimes you just need somebody to say, you know what, screw it, I'm going to help you.
Yes.
And that's what I hope we can offer to the children, to parents, to teachers,
definitely.
to grandparents, anyone.
I always love talking to you, and this is the first of many times we will be talking, and
I hope
you're
so.
doing such an amazing job. And I don't think that any person or any child or even any adult can ever imagine the impact that you've had on these children's lives. If you think of yourself sometimes sitting by yourself, going through emotions, things happening in your life, things that are confusing, things that hurt you, things that you're celebrating, successes, how do I deal with this? How do I deal with that? Life in general is complicated, and your mind is complicated. And the fact that little children at such a young age have to go through so much trauma and still kind of have to grow up normal in society and do their thing and work and be a mom or a dad and be a colleague and I think you touch so many children's lives and you are helping so many children. And I just think I don't know, you can't even explain it. Ek weet nie eens hoe om dit te sê nie. It's just absolutely amazing. Thank you for all the hard work that you and your team and all these hotlines are doing. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and we look forward to our road ahead with you guys. I think it's going to be amazing.
Again, thank you for the opportunity, and I obviously wish you all the success, and I wish your magazine reaches millions of people, not just because we feature.
Yes.
And the millions that then watch your magazine, hopefully, if a small percentage can check out what we do, that would be great. But yes, all the best, and thank you for the platform, and continue to make noise. And if we can ever help with anything, let me know.
You're a big noisemaker like me. I'm sure we'll achieve achieve great things in life.
So I hope so. And the next time you YouTube something, YouTube how to rob a bank, then maybe we can do even more.
I am featuring him in my next one, but I think I need to edit that out of my video. It's a very small world, Danie, very small. I need to get Robin Banks on this show. I'm going to send him this interview and say, you see. Danie, thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure, as always, talking to you, and keep up the good work. I'm proud of you, and my entire team is proud of you, and just keep going. You're doing amazing.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Good stuff. Cheers, Danie.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.